If you struggle with getting in the studio, try out this one thing, and I promise you it will help you significantly. What is up, Shaping Nation? This is Nick Torres here. And on this episode of Shaping Your Pottery, I'm going to be talking about why you need to have something started, always have something started to help you get into the studio and just continue being able to make and improve your pottery. A while back, a few people have told me this, like while I've interviewed them. They said one of the things that have helped them the most with getting into the studio and improving the pottery and finding their voice is that they always have something started in the studio. Like whatever they're doing, something is always started, and they never leave the studio without having something started. And this is such good advice for anyone that struggles to get into the studio. Maybe, you're feeling a little lazy or you have been working a long day. We have those days, right? And sometimes it's really hard to get into the studio consistently because consistency is the key here. If we can't be consistent, then we can't ever find our voice. We can't ever make the pottery that we want, and our pottery will never, ever get as good as we want it. So consistency is the key. But part of that consistency is actually getting into the studio. That is literally the hardest part, is just getting into the studio and start actually making. So to cure this, a lot of people have, what they discovered is that if they just have something started already in the studio, whatever that may be, it could be, you have started a sculpture, or you have started a mug, or you have started a vase, whatever it is, just have something started. Always have something started. That way it forces you to get back into the studio. And I don't know about you, but I have tried this a lot. And every single time I do it, I always want to get back into the studio because I know I want to finish that piece that I was working on. Like right now, I'm making these characters, and because it takes so long, I don't want to be in the studio like forever. And it's hot right now at the time of recording this. It's like over 100 degrees. So I don't want to be in my studio all that much, but I still want to be making. I just don't want to be in the studio because it's hot. So what I've been doing is I've just been starting the actual sculptures and the magnet things that I've been making. And that has helped significantly because now I'm forced to go back into the studio the next day so it doesn't dry out. So it doesn't, mess up or anything. So I'm forced to go back into that studio, that hot studio, to actually make. And you could do the same thing as well. Whatever you are making right now, you don't have to finish it. Just start something. So like, let's say you got in the studio for maybe an hour or 2 hours, whatever your time was. And at the end of the day, you got a lot of things finished, but now it's time to just start something for the next day. Because if you can start something for the next day, then you're going to keep that ball rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And it's going to be that much easier to start getting into the studio. Remember, the hardest part about being consistent is getting into the studio and actually starting to make, because we may be liking what we're making, but sometimes it just gets hard to get into the studio. You're busy, or you had maybe a terrible night's sleep, whatever it is. It can be hard to get into the studio and actually start making, will yourself up. So if you have something started, the will part is pretty much almost taken out of it. And you could just keep doing that over and over again, however many times you want to get into the studio. It's just, as long as you have something started, you're going to be more compelled to actually finish that piece. So that is my advice for you this week. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you guys in the next one.